Okay, so it's piston assembly time. So we're gonna put the pistons together here. We've got these brand new pistons. These are, when I was working in the diesel shop years ago, I was a mechanic for Detroit Diesel. These are called kits in a Detroit Diesel. You had a cylinder liner and all this, bearings, all the pistons and rings and everything, and you would assemble your kits on the bench. So I'm gonna call these kits today, and we're gonna assemble our kits today and go from there. So we're gonna start with cylinder number 1 here. These are kind of nice. They're labeled, 30 over. They give you an arrow here, which means, point forward towards the front of the engine. So you always want to, look out for that. This is definitely, supposed to go that direction. It's not supposed to go the other way. Will it run the other way? Yeah, but probably not for as long. So you want to always follow the recommendations. So now the first ring to go on is this guy here. When you're doing when you're putting on piston rings, one thing you want to do is be really careful. These things are delicate. They're not, they can't take a lot of abuse, so you want to be careful. You also want to look at the ring and make sure that there's no bevels on it. Sometimes on the edge is a bevel on one side, or they have a dot on the top, or which way it goes. But these rings do not appear to have any orientation. They just are symmetrical, top, bottom. I don't see any dots or anything. There's no bevels. It's all just square. So that makes it pretty easy. Now, you can put these on with your hands, or you can put them on with this tool here. This is a ring expander tool. I'll just show you with ring number 1 here. This is just to show you real quick, but this is probably the safest way to go. You can see the ring goes right on, and you're not going to risk breaking something. So this tool here, you can buy this for, I think it's like 10 bucks at the auto parts store. So it's really a good thing to have. And it's made in USA too, which is cool. So we're gonna put this together first. You always wanna start with the oil ring, the furthest one down, and then work your way up. So we're going to get the oil rings you have to build. So what you wanna do is put these in first. There's a small little ridge on these that's on the inside. So if you go put these in first, and then try to put this in, it doesn't go. So you want to put this guy on first. This you can just do with your hand. This is very, very easy. It goes right in. And then these guys here, these guys go right on. I'll use this tool here. These are also very, very easy to, these are steel, these are not cast iron, so these things are very flexible, and you can get them on there with your fingers actually. You don't really need the special tool. Okay, that was the upper one. And there's a joint on these. You want to make sure that this is actually overlapping a little bit here. So I've got to make sure I get this ring. There we go. Get it straightened out. And you don't want to have the gap in this be aligned. You want to try to make it offset if you can. You just try this guy here and see how this works. And there's so much flex in these, I don't think you can use that tool. You get that on there, and then you have your ring. You want to make sure your little gaps are offset here. Move them around, and that's your oil ring. Now we want to do the second ring. These are labeled on the package. Hastings makes a lot of rings here. They're labeled. This is second ring. So we're going to do this second ring. Going to inspect this to make sure that there's no dots, there's no bevels. Now see, this ring has a bevel. I don't know if you can see that or not, but there's a bevel on there on the inside edge. So we got to make sure we know which way that goes. There's probably a mark on here. Yes, so This ring, the second ring, is marked top. I don't know if you can read that, but it says it right there. Very small print. So we're gonna make sure that goes up. This one I'm gonna use the tool on. This is cast iron, so I don't wanna force this. Go nice and easy. That goes right in number 2. And then this is number 1. We already checked this. This has no orientation. All right. I'm going to move these ring gaps around. I was told that it does not matter to have the ring gaps lined up or not. I just like to have them, offset. It bothers me if they're all lined up when I put in the engine. They do move around when it's running, but I like to set them all weird directions so that doesn't happen. And we got, this is number 1 here, and we're going to, when you put these rods in on this engine, there is an oil squirter on these. Yes, you want to have the connecting rod, the numbers are going to be facing outwards. And the reason is because the oil comes out and goes onto the cam, I believe. I believe that's why they have these set up that way. So take off these nuts here. Well, it's on there. That's why you got your plastic hammer. And we'll take a clean cloth. Wipe this out, and we're going to get our bearings here. Clevite, however you say it. Make sure that's in there all the way. And you get your other bearing here. You make sure your numbers are lining up, so it's going to go in this way when we put the cap on. And so this guy is going to face outwards, and this guy is going to be forward, so it's going to go like this. And we're going to put our wrist pin in here. Put a little, we'll put a little assembly lube on the wrist pin. Use a little bit of, actually I just use a little bit of motor oil. Goes right together. Okay, and then we have some clips. We have to put some spring clips in there, which must be in the box here somewhere. I'll give you your spring clips right here. There they are. And we'll get our pliers. Right in the groove. We're in the groove. We're going to make sure that that snap ring is in that groove correctly. We don't want to have that snap ring sticking out halfway. It'll pop out. Same thing there. So this whole kit, if you will, is ready to go in the engine. Now I'm going to build the rest of these pistons. Okay, so my employee Drew came by today at the shop. I'm by myself today. I'm working on this engine here, and he was checking it all out. Everything's going good, and he goes, "Hey, did you check your ring gap here?" And I said, "Yes, I did. I forgot all about it." So thank you to Drew for stopping in here. And so what I'm going to do is just take what you do to check your ring gap is put a ring in the cylinder. Any cylinder, doesn't matter. And you take a piston with nothing on it, upside down, and just make sure it's in there square. And then you take, the math is on any engine, per inch of bore. So this engine is bored out 4-inch 80 thousandths, so 4.080. And you're going to want to multiply by 0.004, 4 thousandths. So I'm going to do that right now. So 4.080. So I should have minimum 16 thousandths ring gap. Okay, that's a minimum. Let me get a feeler gauge. So the minimum, the absolute minimum is 16 thousandths. You don't want to go under that. You want to make sure you're there or over. And if you're over by, if it's 18 or if it's 20 or 22, that's okay. Don't worry about it. But you don't want to go under because you don't want that ring to touch when it expands under the heat. So I'm going to check. I'm going to grab the 16. It's just, my math says a hair over 16. But I'm just going to take, well, I should actually go, let me try 17. Let's throw 17 in there and see what this does. Okay, we got 17, fits, no problem, so we know we're good there. Let's just see what it is, though. I'm just curious what the, let's try 18. Yep. So this looks like we're going to be really good here with these rings. We're not going to have to, I don't think we're going to have to gap any of these rings at all. There's 20 right there. That's pretty nice. Let's try 22. We got plenty here. Okay, 24. 24 has got a pretty good drag on it. It won't go in all the way. So it's probably 23 thousandths, I would guess. It's between 22 and 24, so minimum is 16.3 or whatever it was, and we're plenty. So this is piston ring number 1, and then we're going to check our second piston rings here. This is piston ring number 2, just to make sure. You don't have to do this with the oil rings. The oil rings, it's not necessary to do that. Just get these guys in here, get our piston, make sure that's square, and then let's see. I'm going to guess on this one, I'm going to go with, let's try 24 just to see what 24. Okay, 24 does not fit. Let's try 22. 22 fits. So it's the same gap as, these are really well-made rings. These are the same gap as ring number 1. So we're good. Boy, those rings really fit in there nice. Quality stuff. Okay, so now we're gonna put the pistons and rod kits in the engine. So I'm gonna turn the engine. I've got it on my stand here. Makes it pretty easy. Turn it up. Okay, so when I install these pistons and rod kits here, I'm going to use some lube here on the pistons and on the bearings, so we have good lubrication while it's first starting. So I'm just going to put plenty of this stuff on here, and we're going to put some on the connecting rod bearing here. And then we're going to put the, put some in here on the cylinder. So when this thing goes down, it's got some oil on it, some grease. I'm going to put the piston ring compressor on here, and we want to make sure our, this is cylinder number 1. I got the number here on the connecting rod. It's facing outwards. It's going to be, you know, towards the exhaust manifold. And we got all our stuff on there. I'm just going to lower this in. And then my arrow as a, oh, wait a minute. Nope, got something wrong. I got something wrong here. The arrow is not pointing in the correct direction. What did I do? This one's not right. This one's backwards. Okay, we're going to try this again. Putting this in here, I had the piston going the wrong way. And now we're going the right way. I don't know what the heck happened there, but... Okay, it's not seated all the way. Now we're going to put the connecting rod cap on here with some more lube. And we have to make sure the number is facing out. I'll actually roll this over so you guys can see what I'm doing here. This cap goes on here, the rod cap, and the nut. And I will torque these all up later when we've got them all in there. You can see the rod cap on there now. Okay. Get that on there as far as it'll go. And then the next piston I'm going to do is I'm just going to go in order here 1 through 4. So I'm going to do number 2 next here. Actually, we'll go do it like this. The bottom. Okay. We got these guys, the intake's on. You're probably wondering why I'm putting this beautiful aluminum intake on this engine that's not painted. And the reason is because we're going to be painting the intake manifold. And I know you're probably saying, oh my gosh, what are you doing? How can you paint that beautiful manifold? Well, it's going to make this car look more original. It's going to have that original kind of look. It's very similar to the original manifold in its shape, and it's going to be kind of hidden. Is it an Edelbrock? Of course it is, but I think this is going to look nicer on this car that we're going to put it in than it will sitting here kind of sticking out. If it's going to be, this engine's a really bright color too. Edsel's were yellow engines, very similar to this forklift right here. Almost identical color. It's very bright yellow, a little bit less orangey than that one. And we got the correct color from Bill Hirsch Paints, and we're going to be painting this whole engine. So I just wanted to let you guys know why we did this here. And the next thing we're going to do is answer my phone while it's ringing here. So the next thing we're going to do is clean this thing up and paint it. So let's get onto that. Oh, excuse me, no. The next thing we got to do on this engine is put together the valve train here and adjust these valves. So let's do that. Okay, that's all torqued. Okay. Oh, and I gotta mark these too. All right, that is a completely built. Let's take a walk around here. Just coming out really nice, this FE motor. And we've got the intake on, the heads, valve train. We're gonna throw the valve covers on, and then we're gonna paint this engine and make it look really pretty and put it in the car. Seems really coming along. All right, let's get to painting.